Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network Heel of the Ring podcast. It is the NXT review for the June 4th go-home show. Before Battleground, we got a lot to talk to you about. What's up again? Please hit like, share, subscribe to the channel, and be part of the Heel of the Ring crew. We appreciate everyone that's joining us here. NXT comes live from Orlando, Florida, from my home city. Of course, our own very own Tribal Chief Terrence was in the building. We'll give him a shout out. He was at the arena. I'm pretty sure he's at work right now. I'm pretty sure he would have joined us on the review show. I wanted to hear his perspective or his thoughts on an action-packed NXT Live where we're seeing some crossovers right before Battleground. We saw last week the announcement for Ava, who was going to be the challenger for Roxanne Perez, with the collaboration with TNA Impact. And we kick it off here before we get into the ring action, where we're seeing a high security anticipation for Ethan Page, who was the surprise last week on NXT. He shows up, Ava waiting for him with a caravan of folks in the parking lot, ushering him in. He's not a superstar of the NXT brand yet. Of course, they're building that, and he has their contract signing for Ethan All Legal Page, where, you know, it's only been a couple of hours on WWE NXT TV, and he's already compelling. I mean, that's we'll get into that as a review. But we start off, yes, where in a WWE said, we're going right to it. We're going to showcase this big predominant superstar from the other brand, from TNA Impact Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace. We know she has a match with Stevie Turner, and that's the opening contest. You know, I understand a lot of folks some folks may have an issue with that. Oh, you should have made the audience wait a little bit for Jordynne Grace. I disagree. I was happy where they placed her right in the beginning, and maybe she wants to get away from the traffic or the tie-up or stuff. And there's not that much traffic coming out of the Performance Center. But again, maybe she, just get her in and out. They showcased her. She comes out, has a match against Stevie Turner. Now with Stevie Turner, we know that she's trying to get her footing, and ever since coming from NXT UK to the main roster here to the United States. For Stevie Turner, I know someone says this is going to be a glorified squash match. I believe the match was about 4.5 to 5 minutes for those guys that are there with a stopwatch or counting the seconds of actual wrestling. But I do appreciate that Stevie Turner got some offense in, put a little bit of a threat to, and seeing Jordynne Grace wrestle on her defense as well. But we saw what she is about. She is speed and power for Jordynne Grace. Her power maneuver. I know that during the course of the matches, during that match, the crowd was so vibrant. They were anticipating her debut in NXT. We had some TNA chants, yes, and for Busted Open, who says that the WWE or the WWE crowd is in a bubble, makes it seem like we're people under the stairs. No, we do appreciate wrestling. It's just when wrestling sucks, we tell you wrestling sucks from other brand. And we're our own harsh critics. So for them to think that everyone from the WWE bubble just sticks to the WWE bubble, nonsense. Because so that means you're a shill for the other companies and you're an anti-WWE guy then. No, and of course you want to talk about separating yourself from tribalism, but you're out there on Sirius Satellite Radio promoting tribalism with your, crapping on other products. I mean, but I digress. We'll stay on course with the WWE NXT review. Well, Jordynne Grace, seeing her wrestle, in my opinion, it's a good thing for the product. It's a good thing. It's a showcase match before possibly the main event, or for the premium live event at Battlegrounds. I like the fact that they had the champion Roxanne Perez join Booker T and Vic Joseph in commentary. She's scouting her opponent. Advantage, if you're asking me in a classic bout or fight or MMA or any type of, you're scouting your opponent, or even in sporting event for the NBA finals, you send a scout to see the possible Western Conference champion, vice versa. Roxanne was out there scouting Jordynne Grace, seeing her moves, seeing what she has to deal with, how she's going to attack or possibly wrestle Jordynne Grace with her power, seeing some type of, seeing what kind of offense Stevie Turner put in, yada yada. I thought the match served its purpose. It showcased Jordynne Grace on NXT television. I love the fact that she came out with that jacket, custom made. Merchandising is all about making money in the merchandise. For Jordynne Grace with the NXT TNA jacket, I really enjoyed it. It's talk about someone who's embraced it, who becoming the face for the female wrestler to cross over with the WWE. It's a big deal. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big deal when it comes to the world of wrestling, especially in the WWE universe, where we've seen it not since the territory days, really pretty much. Maybe you could say the ECW invasion in 87, 86 when Paulie and bought the ECW guys to invade. But ECW was in some financial troubles where, we all know the history. When we see other company really participating in especially their champion having a match on WWE live television. We could even say the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, fellas. If you remember when Jim Cornette had Smoky Mountain Wrestling, he bought the NWA title at that time on Raw. They tried that a little bit. It didn't kind of work a little bit. This collaboration with NXT and TNA, I think it goes further beyond what we're going to talk about. I'll talk about that at the end of the video or at the end of this live stream after I finish reviewing this. Yes, I am live, so if you have your questions, yesterday I had to record it and I edited it live, send it live, but I am live for your questions, your comments, your thoughts. I'm here. Let's go. We are audience participation program. With any of my live or all my watch-alongs, we ask you to participate in the chat. So we go into the face-off after Jordynne Grace hits her Jordan driver on Stevie Turner. It's now a face-off with Roxanne, and Jordynne gets face-to-face, a little confrontational. I liked it. I know her concerns with some of the higher-ups in TNA and WWE is that Jordan driver, if it's not done, executed correctly, the back of the neck could be in some danger. I understand it looks like a dangerous move when the way she does that driver. Is it a concern? I think Jordynne Grace is so professional and she is so strong that I don't think it's going to be a major concern. Here's the one ever caveat. I like to have the both side of the coin. Let's say in the future things don't work a little well, although Jordynne Grace wants that next contract. If she wants to make that uber-changing money, I'm not saying that they should poach her away from TNA. I want her to stay in TNA. Again, don't make this misconstrue what I'm going to say, but this is a showcase for her. Actually, when she becomes a free agent, Shawn Michaels already is enamored with her in TNA, all reports, as well as Triple H at the Rumble. That's why they ask her back. It's a show. Is it a showcase for her to be, when she's a free agent, for WWE to back, sign her, give her a bigger pay bump that she's getting in TNA, so forth, or there's more behind this. We'll explain in a bit. I think the match served its purpose. I thought it was fine. Nothing to yawn, nothing to get, oh my God, it was, I can't believe it. I have I'm wetting my shorts, adrenaline in my pants, all that other nonsense. No, it was just, it served its purpose. It told the story. This is the number one contender going into Battleground. You have the champion scouting her, and guess what? History could be made, especially with that jacket. That jacket to me was a big signal of possibly where the direction of this match or this premium live event or this collaboration is going. To put those names, to put that NXT TNA, it kind of has a great ring to it, especially when there's rumors where TNA Wrestling looking for a week-to-week home to do live events. You have a performance center right there that's ready for television, geared up with cameras, angles, with a studio for that amount of people, like the PC Center, where they already have the system in place where you sign up via Facebook, go to YouTube Full Sail, get on a bus, get charted, get brought over to the Performance Center for the next 2 to 3 hours, and then you go back. They have all the systems set up. Could this be where TNA calls the Performance Center home, where they'll join collaboration and help the TNA brand? And now they could do tapings on Thursday night under the tutelage and the eye of Endeavor TKO. Where, guess what? Who owns Endeavor TKO? Of course, the UFC is part of that umbrella. WWE is on an umbrella. Anthem has an umbrella of TNA and Invicta FC. An MMA fighting company. Just put the cookie crumbs there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking there's going to be a merger. I hate to say it. I was waiting for the end of the video. In my opinion, I think TKO Endeavor is going to end up getting buying from Anthem, the Victor FC, along with TNA Wrestling. Just think about it. How does it benefit the WWE? You could have that Thursday show for the WWE to either run it on, you could Peacock, you could put TNA on Peacock, you could put TNA on Netflix, or you could even slide them into the USA Network. Get them out of the Axiom. Then now they're under the WWE. And also think about the TNA library. I know a lot of people say, I didn't like the Dixie Carter booking but let me tell you something. Back in the day, and I was totally absent. I'm not going to say I saw it and I knew it. I'm going by my Heal the Ring crew members from Terrence, Chef Dan, telling me about the Division X, the Ultimate X Division, where those titles, those matches with the up and coming of AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, so forth. I know some of the people didn't like Willow or Jeff Hardy. They disliked the TNA with that and stuff. But the X Division was one of the phenomenal divisions, no pun intended, what I was told. I wasn't a big fan. I didn't watch the product, even though I was in Orlando. Life, work, building, owning my home, working to own my home. I couldn't really watch the TNA product. I digress. They're telling me great things about it. Just think about the library that they'll have, seeing Joker Sting or the Aces of Eights and so forth. WWE will put that on that platform. That's another game changer in the wrestling, talking about wrestling market with that, and also having a TNA brand under the WWE banner. I think it's a win-win. WWE doesn't have, they could leave whoever they want. They want to leave Dreamer in and whoever's running the TNA booking decisions. That's all fine and dandy. All you got to do is just have some of the personnel that with the venues to just help TNA get better venues. But keep going to Toronto, keep going to Montreal like they like to do. That's fine. Going, and they're big in the UK for TNA. There's rumors that one of their premium live events is going to the UK. So there's a lot of good things coming out of TNA with this merger, not the merger, with the working collaboration with WWE. I think that's the final straw. Just put it this way. I'll move on, get back into the TNA review, NXT review, excuse me. I'm putting this out there. They're announced 2 years from now. SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights. And we all ask ourselves, why in the world would a SummerSlam be 2 nights? Is it warranted for 2 nights? Let me ask you this. If you have NXT and TNA participating on night 1 or night 2, vice versa, do you think it warrants a 2-night event? If you have all these superstars where you could probably bring in there, not a Worlds Collide, not a porno pay-per-view Forbidden Door, that junk over there. You're talking about now you don't have to have them always interact. You could do it on a quarterly, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, where you can have that type of growth, and they have 2 nights. WrestleMania is 2 nights already. Now SummerSlam is being announced for 2 nights. If you have almost 4 brands, you could say 4 brands with Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and now if you add the TNA into the mix, you have kind of 4 brands where you could do that on a 2-night SummerSlam. Survivor Series alone. What has been the theme of Survivor Series? War games. You could have Raw versus SmackDown, TNA versus NXT, or you could switch it all up and free for all, or even storylines. I'm just leaving that thought out there. It makes sense for all companies. I know in the past it didn't work out when you're trying to work with different people, different organizations. We could see history shown when two companies try to work together, it rarely works because not one company don't want their guys getting jobbed out, or who's going to do the job, who's going to take the pin, who's going to make look who's stronger, vice versa. We've seen it. We've seen it from Ring of Honor. We've seen it from New Japan. We've seen it even back in the old AWA days, you know, when they team up with Crockett and it didn't work. Hopefully, that's why I think this is going to work, because they're going to be bored. They're going to be under the same family. That's just my opinion. Again, let's go right into the next segment after we see that great match or that introduction for Jordynne Grace. Of course, we see Trick Williams in the parking lot, of course, confronted by Lash Legend. Lash, kind of like a breakup type of thing, that she's concentrating on her title, the inaugural woman NXT North American title, kind of, and Trick says, handle your business. I understand. I get it. You know, that storyline there with Lash and that love storyline, kind of not, it doesn't rival the Rhea Liv Dominic. It's just something that's brewing in NXT as well. That's their storytelling there too, with that love interest between Trick and Lash. Handle your business. Trick wants a piece of Paige. Just not only he just jumped in from behind, he made a hit, you know, potential love interest. We get it. All right, so then we're told we're getting a NXT Women Title Summit. Booker T is in the center, kind of like a contract signing. You bring all 6 of the competitors, women. Booker T letting us know they're, you know, first ever inaugural champion. What does it mean? You know, first we wanted to hear from Lash Legend. Actually, Lash Legend was the second to last. We heard from Mitchum, and then Jada Parker with the dynamic, cutthroat in just promo. I mean, you know, this is not black and gold. If you get in my business, you're gonna end up getting black and blue. I mean, phenomenal job for Miss Jada Parker. I am a fan of Jada Parker, big, huge fan of her. I gonna say hold off my resort there. The H ladies had their turn, having their comeback. I love another again. Lash spoke last, and then Jada with another one. You know, I'm surprised you're even thinking about this title. You're kind of like Trick Messiahs. Boy, I mean, it wasn't said like that, but the way she just sliced her up. And then, of course, all the physicality, the back and forth, they get into it where Robert Stone is going to make a match with all 6 competitors, but he's going to spice it up a little bit, which they didn't say how, but we're going to get to it at the end of the main event or pre-main event, co-main event. The wrestling match was the last match on the card. They were the last one. Then we had a what's supposed to be a contract signing, because Ethan Page has a lot of demands from our general manager, Ava. And, of course, he wants to be met. And Ava's like, I ain't going to meet these demands. The door's right there. You got nowhere to go, kind of. But Trick is so enamored to get his hands on, and they're going to give him a chance to hear it out. So they're going to go in some negotiations. That's settled for the end. At the end, we'll get to that. And when the time comes here, here's a match that was following was Thea Hail versus Jazmyn Nyx. And I know a lot of folks says, why? There's a story here. There's 2 stories being told. For the Thea Hail side, Thea Hail kind of now got away from JC Jane, broke her nose. She's trying to gather her friends, her Chase U friends, her male friends, and move forward, reestablish the magic that they had in Chase University. But Andre Chase is mentoring Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland is like a lost soul, or he finds himself, he's dangerous. He's not good. He's not a good person. But Andre Chase is trying to see the best out of him, make him a better person. Duke Hudson is not on the fence with him, and Osborne Riley does not like him. He thinks he's just a snake, a leopard who's not going to change his spots. He doesn't approve him being in Chase U. He's not feeling it. Duke Hudson is kind of taking his side. Got a little bit of a division, distracting Thea. Osborne and Duke says, we're not going to accompany with you tonight. You got this on your own. Andre says, I'm with you. And she kind of was a little bit baffled that they didn't want to come out with her. Like, oh, really, guys? And then when they were in Duke, when Professor Chase goes with her. Dan Ridge says, why are they not joining us? Then, of course, the storyline is that they're going to go out there. Thea taking on Jazmyn Nyx, who's hell-bent because her best friend's nose was broken by Thea Hail on a punch. Now there's a revenge tour. Jazmyn Nyx is out for revenge. Thea Hail is confused, wondering what's going on with her Chase U pals. The match gets in, back and forth. Jazmyn Nyx has the making of a superstar, the next level. She's got to get better in her ring, although her Pele kicks and her legs, her kicking, her display, because the former West Virginia soccer player has the kicking and the legs to incorporate in her arsenal. Good job on the coaches using that strength for her, and she performing well in the ring. Of course, we got to get her now into some suplex, arm bars, and all that other stuff. That's part of the coaching. Her appearance, 1,000% a superstar. I mean, who's not? I mean, beautiful, fits all the bit. She's not blonde, guys. She's a brunette. Find something different that WWE usually don't push. Doesn't matter, brunette, redhead, blonde. It doesn't matter as long as they in-ring performance are great. And she's gonna get better with time. With her mannerism as a heel, phenomenal. I love it when the way she just rolls down, calls the camera to go in, and says, "Oh, too much, not too much." I love all that mannerisms, those little details on a female heel works. That's what you want. She becomes now must watch. Just even if she stinks right now in her wrestling, but those entrance, the cadences of a heel, and she doesn't stink. I don't want to think that I'm saying she stinks. She does not stink in her in-ring. I think her in-ring is really good for what she's been limited right now in her time in NXT. She's ahead of the curve, in my opinion. I think, she's superstar potential in her. And again, I did not say she stinks. I just said if she were, like some people might think, she has the it factor for Jazmyn Nyx. She picks up the win because out of the Chase U, comes Osborne and Duke. They decided to join the match afterward. They had a change of heart. Thea was like, "What are you doing here?" This is the part that I got a little disconnected. Why is Thea upset that they came out? She should have rallied that her friends came out to even now support her, regardless of the fact that Rich is there or not, and gotten more enthusiastic. She felt like it was like a downer. So a little disconnect with me in that part. Thea loses the match. We get JC Jane getting the victory. Jazmyn Nyx getting the victory in the honor of JC Jane. Love it. That was a short but good match there that told the story. Now, it wasn't too long. I don't think it was too long or too short. Maybe not even. I thought it was just fine for that part of the segment of the show. Especially you had Jordynne Grace come out. You had that practice promo. You saw Trick. You saw Sean Spears. You saw before Sean Spears. You saw the Ethan Page, and we'll go to Sean Spears like I already mentioned. You saw Sean Spears in the back talking to some kids. He's like recruiting the young talent. He kind of wants to be a mentor, or he's trying to build. I get a lot of schism buys with that, like trying to find, the lost souls in NXT, trying to make his own group. We saw him talking to Bronco Lima last week. We saw him talking to Tyreek and Chegway last week, and then this week you see him talking in the back where he's talking to Javon Evans and a few other group of guys, and then out comes Briggs, and him and Briggs get at it. Spears, and they go brawl, hoo ha ha. He gets beat up, and then right before he comes out for the save, Javon Evans. Now Javon Evans, everyone says that kid is a uber talented young man in NXT. Javon Evans. If you know Jay Malachi, Javon Evans, phenomenal kid who has a great in-ring, high flyer, has the mannerisms in wrestling. Everything checks the box. The one thing he needs to work on, he's only 20 years old, just turned 20, 19 to 20 years old, promo. And that's going to come with time, with being comfortable in front of a live microphone, in front of a live camera, in front of live people. The NXT crowd and the PC Center here in Orlando, we love the kid. We're behind the young OG. We think he's We appreciate his in-ring ability. We know that the promo skills are going to get there. Listen, I think Hulk Hogan didn't start off as a good promo talker when he started. He was raw. Everyone learns how to crawl before they could walk and before they could run. And I think, for Javon Evans, he's just right now in the crawling stages when it comes to his wrestling career. And wow, he is lethal. I mean, the way he flies, he hit a cutter off the ropes and hit spears. That battle between them, I can't wait to see how it turns out in a match with them. I hope personally, I'm hoping that that's the kickoff show, the kickoff match for Battleground, Javon Evans versus Shawn Spears. I'm hoping they give us that last hour. General Manager Ava decides, because, man, I would love to see Shawn Spears, even if it's opening up the pay-per-view or the premium live event. I would love that to be Javon Evans versus Shawn Spears at Battleground. I would love to see that personally. I can't wait. I hope so. Crossing my fingers. But Javon Evans, the big things are happening to that young man. And watch out for what is Shawn Spears up to. What is he building? Is he getting an army to what? To invade, to attack, trying to get into some young, talented minds. Keep an eye. TNA is coming in now. If done right, you could have an invasion angle. Just saying, keep that in mind for later down the road. We get into the NXT Heritage Cup match bout between Tony D'Angelo and Damon Kemp. Before that, we saw a vignette with Charlie Dempsey. I'm trying to do a bad job of a accent of The Sopranos or Robert De Niro, that stereotypical Italian with the capiche. It was funny because I've told you about Damon Kemp, does a phenomenal job, much better job than his brother Gabe Stevenson. As we have, what's up, Mario? Hey, I really thought it was a good show last night. Mario, I agree with you. That's why we're bringing down this one here. Mario, let me ask you a question as we review this, and we're live here reviewing it with the chat. And I asked Mario, what's your thoughts of the TNA work with Roxanne Perez, with Jordynne Grace? Here's a two-part question, Mario. Do you think this is something that they're going to do more frequently, or is this just a one-off, and do you like it? That's the set question on that, too. As I get back to the NXT Heritage Cup, the vignette there, I was talking about Damon Kemp. Phenomenal job. He is a persona of what's called a heel. Him as a heel works. His mannerisms, he gets you under the skin. He's not bad in the ring. Of course, he uses a lot of his amateur background, wrestling background, and loved it. I liked it. And then when he says, guys, why are we talking in front of a mirror? I just say, you know what? It's true. And I had a good chuckle on that one because it's the truth. Why are we looking in front of a mirror like we're improv? It was just phenomenal. I loved it. I like it. I hope we get more of it. I agree with you. I'm actually going on record thinking I think Endeavor TKO is going to purchase from Anthem both Invicta FC and the TNA brand. I think when there's a lot of signs pointing on that where they're gonna make them an offer they can't refuse. So here's my Charlie Dempsey poor Italian stereotype Godfather impersonation. But we get the Heritage Cup now. I know a lot of people. I don't know if they do that on purpose when they want to make it find it funny, or they don't know. I don't know what the rules of the NXT Heritage Cup is. What is it? Again, I like to explain it, and I've said it on the watch along. You hear other podcasters don't know what the Heritage Cup rules are. If you don't know, it's because you want to be a contrarian. It's simple. It's 6 rounds. It's a match of 6 rounds, 3 minutes in those 6 rounds. You go for if you get a pinfall, the round ends. You get a 10-minute break, cool down, and then you go back. If you get 2 pinfalls before the 6 rounds are up, you're declared the winner. And if the 6 rounds are concluded and there's no pinfall, the Heritage Cup winner retains his cup. If after 6 rounds, if there's only 1 fall, whoever has that 1 fall victory also wins the Heritage Cup. Plain and simple. No, it's even more simple. Even Scott Steiner could do the math. Really simple, ladies and gentlemen. Plain and simple win the Heritage Cup. We get a good match there where I like the rib. No quarter catch club when they do introduction of who's going to be the opponent for the match. They all take two steps back, and they leave the one wrestler in the ring who's going to be the opponent. I like when the Angelo family, all four, took a step back and left nobody, and then they all started laughing. I broke in laughter because I thought it was funny. It's something we didn't expect it, and only those Goombas will do it. And I mean Goomba in a good way. You know what I mean? And I just totally died laughing with Tony D'Angelo. They all took a step back, looked at each other, and cracked up. That was a good one. That was a good tension or a moment of, right before the battle, a little chuckle. I'm always a good sucker for good humor right before anything in wrestling. It has a purpose. And a quick one, Tony D'Angelo gets a quick victory in the first round. I believe it goes 5 rounds where Tony D'Angelo gets the fisherman suplex, wins the match, and takes care of Damon Kemp. But the aftermath is Charlie Dempsey, and this is we saw it happen to Noam Dar. We're seeing it now with Charlie Dempsey. Whenever whoever holds the Heritage Cup, except for Nathan Frazer, for some reason, it didn't affect him. They tend to go a little cuckoo. At least, Noam Dar went into that deep depression, felt sad, yada, yada. They had to get that cup. There's an obsession of holding that cup, and it's starting to see for Charlie Dempsey. He is being obsessed to want that cup. And keep an eye on that there if Tony D'Angelo tends to lose the cup, and his whole demeanor with losing that cup when the time comes. We have another one from Mario. I think it's going to be AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed World. Yes, it is. That's a match in 2 Saturdays from now. Not this Saturday, the following Saturday. I can't believe Clash of the Castles right upon this. I mean, talk about, this is premium live event season. This is PLE season for the WWE, because right after that, you have a couple weeks after that for a build for Money in the Bank, Heat Wave in Toronto, and then, of course, the summer gets even hotter with SummerSlam, of course, before they go to Berlin, Bash at the Berlin. I mean, talk about WWE summer of PLE for the WWE. I mean, phenomenal. And that's not including Slammiversary. That's not including the pay-per-view coming up or the premium event coming up for TNA, coming up in a couple of weeks. So we're going to see WWE representative, and now it's TNA premium live events, because they're calling them premium live events as well. That's another thing that I mentioned, back in January. They changed. They're no longer pay-per-views. They're premium live events because you watch it on the TNA Plus app. By the way, who owns TNA's Plus app? TKO Endeavor. Just saying. Again, all those things push towards a merger where they're going to buy TNA. They're already on the streaming platform. They're already calling it premium live events. They rebranded the titles, something that Endeavor did with TKO. They're doing so many different things that's pointing. Scott D'Amore is out, although I would love Scott D'Amore to return if this merger happens for him to be running TNA, because I think Scott D'Amore is a visionary. But we'll get back. Let's get right back into the NXT review. We get a match here where a lot of folks might say why, and I'm going to tell you reason why it works. Why not? It's Izzi Dame versus Natalya. Now, Natalya, we all know it's internet. Everyone knows the minute, the hour, the time that every WWE superstar's contract is about to expire. But you ask them, do you know when Ricky Stark's contract expires? I don't know. But when it comes, but they know Chad Gable's at midnight at 12:01 on the 8th of June, so forth. They know every bit, every minute, every hour of a WWE contract expires, but they can't tell you in All Elite Wrestling. But I digress. Natalya's contract is being discussed, renewed or not renewed. Natalya, we saw her on Monday Night Raw, losing, talking to Sonya Deville, saying it's time for a change. There's a kind of a tease of Natalya, an attitude change, time for a change. She's frustrated. She wants to, they're making a story angle, which we'll see where it goes with her. One of the most unappreciative female wrestlers on the WWE brand, on all of professional wrestling. She has a match with Izzi Dame. Izzi Dame, another heel, feminine heel that I'm in big favor of. I know NXT, they're talking about that they got a lot of talent that went up to the main roster. It's not, Cody, if you listen to Busted Open, it hasn't been appealing. I'm going to disagree with it. NXT has been building these young stars. You have to watch. They give you episodic storyline that hooks you from week to week. Now you have to turn next week because you got to follow up what happened last week. They quickly don't want to talk about it. That's their problem. That's why we have the Heal the Ring podcast to talk about it and give light to all those wrestlers, male and female, from the NXT brand, because we appreciate them. At least myself, the Heal the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi, we appreciate all the NXT performers up and down. And Izzi Dame is one of the up-and-coming heel females in NXT. Her stature, she's a big, tall woman you could wrestle her as a powerhouse, as an enforcer, and not overbearing. Like, no disrespect, she's not overweight. She's fit. She's tall, strong. Like, wow. There's a wow factor when you see Izzi Dame. Before she even wrestles, she comes out, you're like, wow. My point with her mannerism working alongside Kiana James was a phenomenal boost for her confidence. Now WWE wants to see her with a seasoned professional like a Natalya. Okay, let me see if she could follow on Natalya's lead in a match. That's the story here. You know, you're gonna say, oh, why is Natalya on my TV? Natalya, again, for what she does, very unappreciative. She's the professor. You know, they have Serena Deeb, the catcher's mitt, as the professor there in AEW. Natalya is our version of the professor in the WWE, where she's going to see if this, and by her in-ring, yeah, this girl has it. This girl needs to work on it. Just remember what she did for Cora Jade 2 years ago, having that match with Cora Jade when she was she came down to NXT, had 2 matches with Cora Jade. Those matches were one of the best Cora matches I think she ever had in her career, because that's what Natalya does. She'll make you know, I remember how Will Smith, when he puts on the suit and the Men in Black says, you know the difference between me and you? I make you look good. That's Natalya when she's in the ring with her opponents. She makes them look good. And I got to give that a high praise to Natalya for all the negativity and all the downplay that they have on her on the internet, and unappreciative. Well, we appreciate her. As at times have I said that, it's a Natalya match? Yes. I have said it myself. I'm going to say I'm not going to be a hypocrite if I say I never said that. I've had said that. And I apologize for Natalya, because later down, why I had to change of heart? Because I started to see things in a different perspective that I appreciate for Natalya. So I want to say that for those that watch along with me and go, you're a hypocrite, you didn't like Natalya. I would love to see a change for Natty. Absolutely, Tara. Thank you, Tara. I appreciate your comment. I appreciate that. For Natty, I appreciate her helping Izzi Dame look strong. Even though Natalya gets the pin, gets the victory, I believe Izzi Dame went over with not going over. That's a big wrestling term, because Izzi Dame was that heel. She followed the lead of Natalya. The match was not wonky. It was not clunky. It was not botchy like they like to use. It was a match that told a story where, if you look at it from wrestling-wise, she followed Natalya's lead, told a story where Natalie got the win over her experience outdueled the young up-and-comer, and that was the story told in the match, because Natalie needed a change. Natalya needed a change. She needed a change. She needed a win. She needed to do something different. She had to show herself why she's considered the GOAT of the WWE. And all female professional wrestling, or all wrestling, that's the reason why. Because she could get over still on a young up-and-comer with a lot of what they call piss and vinegar, excuse my pun, or my French. That's what she told. That was the story there. It wasn't long, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't short. It wasn't a squash. It wasn't long. It was a match. It told a story. It entertained. It gave that time. Now, you could debate if you want to say, shouldn't that have been on a go-home? Should I have that be on a go-home live event before the premium live event? You could debate that. I'm not going to argue or disagree and say no, yes, no. That's to you. That's your discretion. If you think if it shouldn't have been there, I think it has a place. It has a purpose of why she was there in NXT that night against Izzi, because she just wrestled the night before. She didn't need to be there. She wrestled on Monday Night Raw. She did not need to be in NXT to have that match. There's a purpose. WWE is doing things with purposes now. They're not just throwing matches now just to throw, I'm going to rip up the script, pal. They doing everything for those little matches, the little intakes, the little nuggets, the little details. They all mean something. And when you look at the grand scheme of thing, when you look back, or if you rewatch a Raw, when you saw that and then you saw the following week, oh yeah, they kind of foretold that. So I keep an eye on it, because if you look at the internet, of course, the internet is almost 70% wrong, but the few 30% that they're correct. They're kind of showing the TNA Slammiversary poster in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It's going to be Jordynne Grace versus Natalya. Now, I don't know if that's the reason why Natalya was there. You know, maybe they're going to cross path or something. I don't know. Jordynne Grace and Natalya has been teasing on social media that they want to match with one another. So I don't know if that's something that the reason why Natalya was there, to see Jordynne Grace, maybe talk about, negotiate, you know, with the TNA representative, WWE representative, to see if they could have that match at Slammiversary. Don't know, but there's a purpose behind that in my opinion, my thoughts. And maybe it's a little too much steam peaking or grasping at straws, like they say, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think everything's done with a reason and a purpose, and I think that's why Natalya was there in that match. I like what Natalya's doing. I hope she re-signs with the WWE. And of course, her husband, Tyson Kidd, is a coach, a producer in the WWE. We know that she does great work with her school in Tampa, training not just WWE wrestlers, TNA wrestlers like Moose and so forth. And of course, with her value in the professional wrestling business, it's far more excel. I love the fact that she came out, gave her glasses to Booker T, and gave Booker T that heartwarming, good to see you kiss on the, like uncle to the top of the head. I love that. That was so cool. I was like, oh, that is so cool. You know, maybe I'm at my old age and becoming a little softy or emotional, but I thought it was very nice. Seeing that touch from Natalya to Booker T, that was sweet. That was cool. I loved it. That was something, in a different note, outside of the wrestling. You don't see that much there. All right, so we have we saw a vignette or a promo that earlier in the day, when you go to NXT, because I do go occasionally, I'm becoming a casual, not going all the time. I used to go a lot. Now I do once in a blue moon. Terrence on the heel of the ring goes every Tuesday. Well, before you go into Performance Center, you have to wait outside the line before they let you in the building. You get off the bus. When the bus ushers over, you got to make a line. Got to go to the metal detectors. But before you go to the metal detectors, there's a trailer. When they open it up, it's the merchandise stand. Before you go in, you're able to buy the new up-and-coming, all the new merch that comes out for the professional wrestlers, for the TNA NXT wrestlers. You could purchase that. You could purchase your belts. It's a merchandise stand. And once in a while, occasionally, when they open up right before you go in, there's sometimes a wrestler there as a surprise. Then you could either buy the merch for that wrestler that is featured that night. Sometimes they sign it, sometimes they don't. You get to you take a picture, say hello, all that stuff. You had the tag team champions, and Nathan Frazer and Axiom were there. They were at the merch stand. They have a new T-shirts for both of them, and they're about to warm up the crowd. Here comes the OCs, Anderson and Gallus. They get in there and they just go at it in the merch trailer. You see the footage beforehand. Gallus was supposed to have a match versus the Chegwig Inegwu, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Igwe. I knew him. I knew Chegwig from before when he was a security guard. That's why I call him Chegwig. It's Inegwe and Tyson DuPont. They didn't have him. They had no opponent, so they teased us here. They say who will come out, who will be the opponents for them. There is no opponent because Ava kicked the boys out of the arena. They're gone. They've been banned. So I'm like, whoa, could this be a surprise? We saw Jordynne Grace last week. We saw Ethan Page come out. I thought it was going to be the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm going to be honest with you. If you watch them on the watch along, I go, ooh, they're going to surprise us here with more TNA, although they're free agents, but still Motor City Machine Guns versus these two kids. What a way to start, because these kids could take a pin because they're going up against a veteran. People are not going to even care about DuPont and Igwe, no offense, Chadwick, but it's the new arrival of the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe it. That would have had Twitter, everyone trending and all that good stuff, but it wasn't. It wasn't them at all. And it was just, oh my goodness. Whoo. It was Gallus boys. They just came in and clean house with their clocks. It leads to a segment Of course, out comes Oba Femi. Ooh. Oba Femi comes out to and of course we get all the participant of the fatal triple threat match. Then you had Wesley coming through the crowd. They all get in the ring, but Gallus boys, the numbers game, 3-on-2, where I know Chef Dan says that it made Oba Femi vulnerable. Of course, you got Wolfgang, Mark, and Joe Coffey. They're big hitters, and they just annihilated and clean house there. Where in a triple threat, we all know Coffey's not winning that North American title. I'm personally going on a limb. I think the Gallus boys will be heading up to the main roster. I think they're going to help Drew McIntyre in Scotland at the Clash of the Castle. Remember this. Remember this seat. Last time they were in Cardiff, Wales at the Clash, we had Solo Sikoa come out and interfere. Drew McIntyre can't let go of things. He knew, bloodline's always interfering in my matches. That's the worst Scottish accent. Sorry if I offended. He always talks about interference. I think he's gonna be one up and bring help from the Gallus boys. I think it'll be all right to have a McIntyre group with the Gallus boys. I know some people will say, "Oh my God, he's not appealing. He's a little boring, yada yada." We even say it, melatonin, Drew McIntyre. But if you give me the Gallus boys, when now a group that are going out there and they're just brawlers and kick butts and take names, I kind of want to see that intrigue where Judgment Day is in shambles right now. They don't know if Finn, is he plotting to take the title away from Damien? Or if Bami isn't, Robbie's in backstage a double or nothing, not with an injury, not taking care of business with Dirty Dom, with the Wandering Eye, with being seduced by Liv Morgan. There's so much turmoil there. I kind of would like to see Gallus boys be brought up, even if it's a one-off to help out and they go back to NXT to NXT. But to see them in there at the Clash of the Castle with most of I know they're Irishmen, they're Scottish, but in that region that's called home for them, it'll be a nice nostalgic bring along for the WWE. I think that would be nice to have them help them try to win. Maybe Judgment Day comes out and run them off, whatever the case is, or interfere with Drew. Drew wins the title that way from Damien. I'm not gonna be down. I'm a big Damien Priest fan. I got the shirt. I got the Puerto Rican flag. I'm a big Damien Priest. We're from the Bronx. I wouldn't want to see Damien Priest lose, but this is a business. If you're telling me you're going to make a business sense where Damien loses because Gallus interferes with where Judgment Day's too preoccupied with Liv doing this and with Dominic and Finn and yada yada, and Drew takes a page out of the bloodline and gets that world title, I'm all for it. Sign me up. Sign me up. If I had to create a pencil, I would love to see that. Where that's why I think this summit, they look strong here, beating up Oba Femi, beating up Wesley. And, of course, you don't need them to take a pin. Joe Coffey could take the pin from Oba Femi, and Wesley could be protected. And you're off to the races with that, in my opinion. We see a backstage with Dante Chen, Alexi King. They get at it back and forth. This leads all the way into the merchandise or the T-shirt printing place. We look like we're getting a match between Dante and Alexi King for next Tuesday in NXT. Dante Chen is bursting on the scene, put up his up-and-comings and level up. I'm a big fan of him in the live events because his introduction is so cool. And he's such a nice guy. When you go to the live event and you see Dante Chen, he interacts. He you cheer for him. He shouts you out. He says, thank you. Dante Chen, a salt of the earth type of wrestler when the cameras are off, and that's what you want. You want to see who's real, who's not, who's there, who wants the fan interaction. And Dante Chen, you could say, is trying to be a people's champion or is a people's champion when the cameras are off and appreciates those that come to cheer for him. And the fans love him for that reason. He takes the time to acknowledge the fans, to thank everyone, to fan favorite. His introduction to sing along, or not the sing along, but the when he's about to do the claw type of deal as a dragon. We like it. And he's getting over on the NXT brand. Listen, I'm torn because I like Dante Chen for who he is outside the ring and all that stuff with it. And then I love Alexi King. I like that heel. I like that he's becoming unhinged, kind of loose cannon like his dad. I'm a big fan of him. I want him to excel in NXT. I hope later on in the months ahead, he holds one of the gold, either NXT title, which although I don't want Trick to lose for any time soon, but I don't or the North American title for Alexi King. I really like Alexi King. I think he has a lot of heel mannerisms that are just remind me of Brian Pillman Sr. and his dad. And I just kind of want to see good luck. I just want to see good fortunes for him. I know he had a bad hand in AEW, and that's the past is past. He's got a new beginning here. Make a canvas. And I want him to make a wonderful portrait in NXT and the WWE for Alexi King. But Dante Chen, so I'm torn between those two. But they're going to have it out next week. We'll take a look. Can't wait to see how that goes and see how that match, personally, on that story there. Can Dante Chen be the new 1-2-3 kid? Kind of be like lucky to beat Alexi King. And will Alexi King become a loose cannon to get that victory? So that's the storyline with that there. A 6-woman tag here. We're going to have, of course, they say they're going to spice it up a little bit. So they kind of did. They put a couple of heels with a face with some heels. They mix it up. In one corner, you have Last Legend, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. So right there, the baby face is Kalani Jordan taking on Jada Parker, Michin, and Sol Ruka. So Michin and Sol Ruka teaming up with Jada Parker in a 6-woman tag. All 6-woman tag chaos. I didn't tag you, or I tagged me in, and people look at each other, that back and forth. Good exchange there. I like our good friend Cleveland. If you haven't seen on Twitter, the fan that faints when Jada Parker gets her ass slapped into the ring, that's our friend Cleveland from Let Me Talk to You podcast. I wanted to shout my boy Jay Movie Mania and Cleveland, of course, good friends and mainstayer, the voice of NXT, of the NXT Live Orlando crowd. They're the Performance Center voices. When it comes to Cleveland and John, those are the guys. You talk to them, they will get you going on the chants. They're the ones that came up with a lot of different chants in the NXT arena and the PC Center. They're the life of the crowd. And that face and that wonderful feint from Cleveland, it was perfect to perfection. Genuine reaction. That's not made up, folks. He is hilarious. A very talented, funny young man. I wanted to put him over on the program, and I can't. When I go down to see him, I always have catch up with him and John. Of course, you can check him out at Let Me Talk to You podcast. Please check out our friends. It's in one of my feature channels on my YouTube page. So please check them out. Or at J Movie Mania. Definitely wanted to give them their flowers and shout out. They make the program. They make the NXT Performance Center live and vibrant. Okay, so we get the back and forth. We get Sol Ruka hits with her soul snatcher, or from the middle rope, not from the corner, from the middle rope. So she changed her variation of her. I kind of like it because it's like a female version of an RKO. She's just gonna hit it out of nowhere. She springboards off of anywhere and she nails it, and she gets the victory. Where when I saw that, I go, man, who's gonna win? I'm gonna ask this: who would you like to be the inaugural women's North American champion? I kind of want to show. I had that conversation with Chef Dan yesterday. I was like, I wish they would have given us a vignette of what this title represents. And it's a new title. And I know Booker T says you're going to be the very first NXT North American champion. And I wanted to hear from the women. What does it mean to be the first? And the opportunities that the men's, and he says it has nothing to do with one or the other. I kind of want to disagree, because the men that held the North American title has gone on to do greater different things. Damian Priest, Keith Lee, regardless of the fact that he's being used in AEW or not, all the different Carmelo Hayes, Ricochet, what we think about Wesley's matches, all the former North American title holders, and if you're the first woman. And again, it depends on the woman to make that title special, because it could turn out to be a 24/7 title. And it's like, it's not. I'm not saying it doesn't. And it also depends on the booking and the competitors. I think the North American women's title should be, I like they say the workhorse. I think all NXT women are all workhorses there in that brand. They all the performers are workhorses. They're not that type where we'll see you in a month. I'm not gonna, no shots at Roman, no shots at the world champion. No. You'll see them constantly in a program, being the face of a company, how to be a champion. For the North American, I think it's for wrestlers who are, I think it should be a reward system for the wrestlers that putting in the work, who are getting better. And it's like a bonus type of deal. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. For if you see a woman improve, like a Lash Legend. I'm going to use Lash Legend as an example. She's been now from the 2.0 when she first came out. I remember how the crowd used to, when I was in and I didn't like it, say Lash is trash. I was like, what are you guys doing? That's a female. That's a professional wrestler. She's learning. You know, the crowd used to chant that. You could look at the videos. They will say that. And now we love Lash Legend. Now everyone all of a sudden turned because she put the work in. Her promo skills, her telling of a match, the way she wrestles like a big woman, you know, tall, powerhouse, safe now. Her match with Lyra Valkyria, we're still talking about it. There is a room, and like that, reward, if she's seen that improvement, maybe you get a title run. You get an opportunity to be an inaugural champion. I make my case for Lash Legend. Her 2 years, and she's getting much better. Would that gold look great around her waist? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like the way they're protecting these women. All 6, because neither one's going to take a pin, where you could have a Fallon Henley says, how am I supposed to believe a Fallon Henley's going to beat this big glamazonic woman in Jada Parker, who, I mean, my goodness, you see her, you think she's a bad woman. That's a bad woman. Lash Legend, I mean, who you want to mess with her? You know, and then, you see all the different Meacham. There's a way of Kalani Jordan, what is she, like 115 soaking wet? And you're telling me she's going to go, they're trying to defeat. There's a way of doing it. It's the ladder match. All you got to do is climb the ladder, reach over, get the title. I love the way they're smart, the way they're going to make that, because it's not going to make anyone look weak. Taking the pin is just winner of the draw of getting that ladder. Who wants it more to climb up and rip off that title and take it? So I like the way they're protecting all 6 women, and anyone could come out a winner. You could put a case for Fallon Henley as the first inaugural women's champion, NXT North American Women's Champion, because that heel turn, she had to take her character to an edgy level to really beat these other 5 women and get up in that ladder and take that title. That's a story there. That's a case for Fallon Henley. For Kalani Jordan, she's very gifted, gymnastic, her athleticism, her wit, she could use to go get that title and defend it now. That's her story. Meacham, I've said it with Meacham, Mia Yim. You could go back to Tides. She had to get it, to bring that North American title to her home, where her husband was a former, and restore that glory to the house and bring that title, be the first, and have her title run. She left the company, retired, and decided to return back to the company, and now she's back in NXT, where it started her black. And I know, she was part of the Black and Gold, but she goes out in a ladder match where she's a specialist. That's one of her match. I tell you guys all the time, go back to Slammiversary 2022. I said it time and time again. Her match with the Queen of the Mountain match with all 6 competitors: Jordynne Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green, I believe Kelly. There's so many of these women in there, and the spots that they did off the ladder, and Meacham in that match, and Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo, phenomenal match. I mean, talk about a hardcore women's match. That's the one that, and that's Meacham type of style of match, where she's going to fit good on Sunday, where you can make a case for her to win that North American women's title and give prestige to a Meacham and credibility, and like, wow. Even if it's a transitional, where, we've been saying, or we've been clamoring for the WWE main brand needs a women's intercontinental title. She was a former North American, and let's say she goes into a tournament where she's a final of an intercontinental. There's credibility because she was a former. She's trying to make history, the inaugural North American women's champion, now trying to get the women's intercontinental. You could do that for later down the road. You could heat up Meacham and make her feel important. Where, let's face it, her return to WWE hasn't been hitting all cylinders. You could heat up a wrestler, even if she doesn't have to win the intercontinental title, but just with that one title win for the North American, you could make her interesting in the main roster. My point. You could have so many different cases for Jada Parker. Right now, she's out of all the 6 women, I believe her promo skills are the strongest of all of them. I'm sorry. I know everyone like Lash. I think Lash still needs to work on her promo. I don't know if the screeching doesn't help her or not. I like her cadence and her back and forth with Trick, because it's natural. But with everyone else, there's it could be a little fine tuning with Miss Legend. I'm still a big fan, but I like Parker's. She's very wit. She's got a chip on her shoulder. It shows with her promo. Like, it's my time. I don't care. I'm about to cut your throat. I'm out here to take care of business. It's my time. And she's telling everyone why it's her time in her promo skill, and it has that flair, that vibe, that attitude in her promos. That is, whoa, she's cooking. I like it. Parker, another one you could play the case, and one of the most ready because she fits the physique part, the wrestling. Although I kind of want to see a different finisher, I kind of wish they'll work on her on a finishing move that's hers. Maybe that's with time in her skin, in her wrestling ability, where she'll come up with her own finisher. I think that will come for Miss Parker. You can make a name for her. For Sol Ruca, the babyface, where the soul cutter. I'm sorry. I think that's the least of all of them. Sol Ruca, I'm a mellow. I'm not there with the promos yet. She just got back from injury, which is nothing wrong with that. She's a hell of a talent who could wrestle, could go in the ring with her shoulder like a physique and all. But there's something about her. She kind of seems like she's a little one-dimensional with the soul cutter, and that's it. And her promo skills isn't strong, but I can see where the WWE might make her the first inaugural champion because she's just doing some moves there, and the PC likes her. The crowd loves her. If she were to be the champion, there's a lot of folks that really like Sol Ruca. Yeah, so excited for the ladder match. I'm torn. Yeah, on who I want to win. Tara, I'm with you. I'm torn. Listen, I think personally, I just gave a case for all these women. I'm going for Jada Parker. I'm like this, like a horse with the blinders. I want Jada Parker to win. I know, I wouldn't be, but I'm not gonna be mad at any of these other 5 women to win it. I could see where a Fallon Henley could win it, and I'm not gonna feel one bit mad with her because her heel work has been phenomenal. I've seen Fallon Henley grow up. All these women, being there live in person, seeing their matches, and sometimes a little disconnected, and now they're connecting me back or wanting to see their matches. It says a lot for these hard work of all these, not just all those 6 women in that ladder match, all the women in NXT. From the 2.0 brand 2 years ago to now, to me, NXT is a must-watch television. And I can say it here, I'm going to scream it on my platform, it's one of the best TVs, wrestling shows in all professional wrestling. I'm very excited with NXT, and now working with TNA. I hope they could bring that rub off over to them, which they don't need it. But I think they're going to go, personally, I think they're going to go with Sol Ruca winning this title. But something tells me they're going to go with Sol. She got the pin there, although sometimes they say not all the time who gets the pin goes over in these premium live events. But I think Sol Ruca wins. I hope not. But my gut is telling me that I want Jada Parker. She fits the bid. She gets that title, or Lash Legend, because she's put the work in, man. 2 years already, and she's gotten every month. Miss Lash Legend gets better and better. And she showed she was world title material when she had that match with Lyra Valkyria on short notice. She just had a match, and she had to fill in due to Shotzi's injury. Yeah, Shotzi tore her knee, and speedy recovery for Shotzi, and she's getting stem cell therapy to try to get back stronger, Shotzi. But for her to for Lash Legend, opened up eyes, and maybe she will. It's so good about it because it's intriguing, because it's not like the old days where we knew the outcome or we kind of felt like they foretold it. You really got to tune in Sunday and be surprised and enjoy the ride. And I'm not going to poo-poo or get negative about who they decide to pick as the women's champion, the North American women's champion. I'm going to enjoy their ride. If it's from Meechin to Fallon Henley or even Kalani Jordan, I'm going to enjoy it. I want to see how they book it. I trust in Triple H and Shawn Michaels and the NXT creative. I trust, and they're in good hands. I trust what they're doing there. Trust their storyline, their writers, their coaches, and I'm just going to enjoy the ride personally. And of course, before we get to the main event segment, which was a contract signing in ring with Ava, we saw the build up for the women's the NXT Underground fight between Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice. Remember, Lola Vice comes from the world of the MMA, Bellator to be exact. She had a couple matches at Bellator. Of course, she's a lethal striker. She's a striker. Shayna Baszler with the MMA background as well. We saw her in Game Changer and also could go with the loose of the hands. They're trying to get this, what's being reported as in the Octagon. Aesthetic wise, that would be a badass look. To have that underground in the Octagon between these two ladies will be phenomenal. Talk about crossover of crossovers. If you put it in Shayna and Lola, Valerie Lorena in that steel cage, oh man, the optics. And listen, one thing me and Chef Dan on our channel, we were excited about that last year's SummerSlam. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I liked the Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler fight because there was realism. We covered MMA here. We on our channel, we do MMA. My son, Chef Dan, we do MMA. And to see them go at it, and we saw the blows, and you saw the shiners under Shayna Baszler's eye. We saw the hard hitting style. I kind of want to see these ladies do that. I kind of want to let them have a semi-MMA match. I'm looking to see, or I'm going to wait for the ring announcer on Sunday to find out. It let me know if it's sanctioned by the Nevada State Commission. Then I know they're going to really let the hands go. Remember, it has to be sanctioned by the Las Vegas, Nevada Gaming Commission, and I can't wait to hear the introduction there. And then I know they're going to let the hands. I kind of am intrigued to see the aesthetics of the Apex Center for wrestling. I've seen it many times for the MMA, of course, fight nights and so forth. I want to see how that looks there. Let's get to the final segment, and we'll give our thoughts on Battleground. I'll give my thoughts on Battleground here. The in-ring here, we see Ava come out with all ego Ethan Page. Ava is not going to hit his demands. Of course, Ethan, I've told everyone time and time, he does some good heel work on the microphone. The guy knows how to talk on the microphone. He is not going to be shadowed or out promoed. You're going to have compelling back and forth promos. I thought when Trick Williams came out, he was a little nervous because he kind of stumbled on one word, but the crowd was there to cover it up a little bit. Again, Trick, we love you. That was just it happens to all of us. I've stumbled many times. It happens to us. But it was great job for covering with the crowd. I'm showing that you got an A factor, and you continue to show why you're the champion and why they believe in you, why the skyrocket or the ceiling. There is no ceiling on your talents because you recovered with that beautifully. And I know maybe because Ethan, the reputation of Ethan being able to talk well on the promo, and you were really passionate because it kind of was true to your promo. Why should you jump the line and come in and get a title shot? But then Ethan is such a sleazeball that got under your skin, and just with the way he is, that just Trick just said, give him what he wants. I'm gonna whip that Trick. I'm gonna whip him. I'm gonna give him an NXT ass whipping, and it leads to signing in the contract. But Ava, look at Ava's eyes or her face when after that was signed. She wasn't pleased. I think there's gonna be more stipulation or more into that contract, and they didn't say the whole details, but her eyes and her look, her mannerisms, like, I opened up the door to something that I don't think I wanted. And just look at that. Just keep an eye on the last closing. That they go off the air. Trick leaves. Nathan. Out comes Oro Mensah. If you look at it, the digital exclusive, Oro Mensah attacks Page, and he wants revenge. He took him out. Page was taking out everyone that was a number one contender for Trick. They took out a few number one contenders backstage because he wanted that out. He wanted to be opportunistic to get that title shot. And that's the story with why Ethan Page got the title shot. There was no number one contender. I know a lot of people saying, oh, Trick Williams' title reign hasn't been luster, hasn't been great. It's only been 60 days, guys. It's only been 60 days. Calm down. We had a kiss with Lash Legend that everyone was talking about before the Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. It was like, oh, yo, Trick is Trick. The crowd loves him. The crowd loves a Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick, everyone. All the main heavy hitters have gone up to the main roster. They're building these new heels or these new obstacles for Trick Williams and out comes Ethan Page by taking out some. It was first Noam Dar was because there's a love, could he have been jealous that Lash Legend is seeing eyes for Trick? But he took him out. Like, why didn't, now it makes sense. Ethan was being opportunistic, trying to get, he was a free agent, wanted to get in the NXT. How? By getting rid of the competition. That's the storyline there. That doesn't mean that Trick Williams' title reign has been planned. I think Trick Williams' title run has been great. He's been talking about how he's been all over podcasts. He's conducting himself doing media like a champion, what the champion should be doing, getting that aspect of a champion out on the front, so when he becomes a main roster champion, he has that experience. It's not any one of these performers you could put a title and go out there and have matches night in, night out, but if he doesn't draw you or say why I want to see a Trick Williams, because he's promoting his matches and why, and his personality, and show you he has a personality, charisma, humbleness, then and now you're invested emotionally in a Trick Williams. That's why Will Ospreay doesn't hit. I'm sorry, look at the numbers. He doesn't hit because he just gives you match after match after match. No character development, no promo. What has he been around for? 10 years? 15 years, Will Ospreay? Now he's getting on the main company and still doesn't move the needle because he doesn't promote. He doesn't speak. He doesn't hear. You don't talk. He doesn't talk you into the building. He could wrestle he could wrestle your ass into a building, where you're going to, he could fight. He could wrestle. One of the greatest matches you could say last year in October was against Speedball Bailey. That was a hell of a match. But we're not even remembering it anymore because he didn't incite you with his words or the storyline to want to see Speedball versus Will Ospreay. Be honest with you, that should have been be honest with you, that match between him and Speedball should have been at Wrestle Kingdom. That's how great it was. Because he's not going to come to the WWE for WrestleMania, so I'm going to go to the next equivalent and biggest event in wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom. That should have been there. Trick is doing those things, trying to talk to you as a champion, promo-wise, being out there to get you to watch his match. That promo work that he did for Stand and Deliver, being a former Philadelphia Eagle, with his uncle who trained, being cut there, going there and winning that title, that's investing in the character. Why do I want to see Trick Williams' title run? Because he's telling you, he's investing. Oh, now that he's champion, Lash Legend wants to dip the honey into the honey tree. That's character development, bringing you in to want to know more about Trick Williams. That's my point. That, and those that say he hasn't been a luster title holder, I peg the difference because he's telling you who is Trick Williams and why he is captivating. Why do we want him to go whip tricks out there, the competition? Because this is who Trick Williams is. That's my opinion there and my thought there, and I think that works there. Why Paige gets a title? He was opportunistic. The same way Lexi King came in and had a match with Carmelo Hayes. Why? Because he was opportunistic. He thought that it was the one that took him out in the backstage. It was not. He lied, and that's what. And again, he slithered his way for opportunities. That's the story telling in the NXT verse that you got to see and hear, and that's the breakdown. And I thought NXT for the Go Home show was a very good Go Home show. I really enjoyed here. I said a little bit of critique. I wish they would have put more emphasis on that. Why there's the woman title, but again, we just talked about it a few seconds ago and we gave it its flowers, its luster, his importance. I like the fact that Gallus, strength in numbers. Just remember that for Drew McIntyre in the main roster, strength in numbers. I think that's going to bleed over there. The TNA, we also saw Brooke Jensen come out and interrupt during the commercial break. He was escorted. That's an angle. I thought he was really released, but it's an angle here when he said I might be going somewhere that I might be wanted where I can make an impact. Maybe he's going to be disgruntled and go into TNA, and he might be the doorman that will bring in TNA talent since he has a key card and bring in and let them in the building to invade. Brooke Jensen, it makes Brooks something to do, keep interesting. We saw him in a house show. He had a sign, Brett Books Better, taking shots at Sean. They say that he was released, but I don't think I fell for it. I thought he was released because let's face it, Brooke Jensen really hasn't hit in the NXT. He's been there for quite some time now. He's on a singles run. He doesn't fit as a singles run. I didn't agree. I like more Josh Briggs than Brooks. I think, Briggs looks like a JBL carbon copy, younger, you could book there, while Brooks Jensen really didn't hit. But if he's doing this kind of role, it makes him important and appealing and want to see what's next for him. Becoming that next level of heel, like, oh, damn, this guy really means something. So I kind of see where they're going with it. And that's another, keep an eye on that, especially for the Impact, TNA Impact Zone, if he shows up there and so forth with the cross promotion. So I thought NXT last night for a go-home show, did exactly that. I want to see Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler. I got to see this title. I'm asking this. Do you want Roxanne to retain women's champion? Do you want to see Jordynne Grace? Jordynne Grace already said on an interview she's willing, and she says she's going to work a couple of NXT live shows. I was like, oh, interesting. NXT live shows, those are Saturdays. That's the house shows. They wrestle Friday and Saturday nights up the whole entire state of Florida, different parts of the state of Florida. That's their house shows. They go to different parts of the state, have a couple of matches. Those are the best. I encourage everyone, if you live in the state of Florida and you know there's gonna be, and you're there and you know you live in one of these towns where NXT is going to have a live show, go. It's only $20. You're not gonna have a bad seat in the house. Your front row, I believe it's like $20, $25. You go in the front row, you get to take pictures, you get to interact more with the performers, more than you do in the performance center because they're on TV time. They gotta move. House shows a little more relaxed, a little more fan friendly. The interaction with the wrestlers, you be able to take some more pictures after the match, before there's meet and greets. I advise you always go to NXT Live. You get to see it, and she says she's willing to work that. If she were to become women's champion, she's willing to work on Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays. TNA right now tapes every other Saturday or Friday and Saturday when they go on the road to do their taping or their live events. So she's put those breadcrumbs there. Also, the NXT NA jacket. So I think personally, for business-wise, I would like to, and I love you, Roxanne. We've seen you grow up. I hate it that you're the one that's going to be the stepping stone here, but I would love to see Jordynne Grace hold both titles, and you could get it back. I have no problem you getting it back. In Chicago, they have a premium live event in Chicago coming up. I would love Roxanne to go and win that title back from her with the help of Cora Jade. I remember they're best friends. Cora Jade is just about getting ready back from her knee. Even if Cora Jade is not ready to get in the ring physically, but she shows up and helps Roxanne get the title back from Jordynne Grace, and she gets it back, even if it's for a few. Have Roxanne and Cora team up and help her get that title back. Some said earlier, I'm gonna give Busted Open credit, so I gave him a little heat earlier. Booker T turning. I mean, Booker T in the reality of wrestling. Again, I tell you guys, if you love the NXT, you have to watch Reality of Wrestling on YouTube. That's Booker T's school. You have NXT talents. Go out there and wrestle. Booker T, Reality of Wrestling, another show of wrestling. I know there's a lot of wrestling guys, and I wish I could watch everything. I wish I could give you the NWA breakdowns because I like Tiffany Nieves. I like all the things they do in the Power Hour. But I can't. It's too much of it. Too much wrestling for me to watch to even, circumvent, remember the names and who wrestles when and what time. I would love to. But again, Reality of Wrestling, I tell you, if you have the time down a Sunday night, give them a shot. Give them a look at. Even if there's some of the older stuff with some of the NXT, Reality of Wrestling is where Roxanne came from. Booker T teased to be a heel manager. And he down there, and wouldn't mind to see that helping Roxanne help Jordynne Grace lose that title, help Roxanne win that title, and keep it on the NXT brand. Where, oh, wait a minute, you had people, and cause a little bit of a rip with TNA. Even if TNA invades a little Reality of Wrestling, and then the NXT has to come to a defense and yada yada. You start a little interaction with all the promotions. I wouldn't mind that as well. But also, I wouldn't mind Cora Jade being the one coming out and helping Roxanne retain the title or regain the title later on another show for Roxanne tries to get her women's title back with Jordynne Grace holding both titles. Wouldn't mind that as well. Because we all know Julia, when she recovers from her surgery on her wrist, which they say she might be scheduled for Heat Wave in the beginning of the month there in Toronto. I believe it's July 7th. And I definitely want to see what Julia brings to the WWE. And this premium live event, it's going to be great. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be invested. We're going to do the watch-along here. So we invite you to come watch along with us. Comment in the chat. If you want to be a panelist on the watch-along, just hit me up, man. You can hit me up. I'll hit you up. I'll give you my email address. I'll give you the link. You come on camera with us and talk wrestling. We always like to grow our Heal the Ring crew. and I'm glad that I mentioned that because we get from time to time we collaborate a lot with Are You Watching This Wrestling? Please check out Are You Watching This Wrestling, our podcast there with Jazz Marie, with Hollywood Canary. I wanted to give those ladies a shout out, a good friend of the show. You see them watching along with us. Check them out. They do some great reviews there on their channel. And of course, a good friend of the Midfit Nation on the Carfel Cartel. Give them a opportunity as well. You know, different point of view of us of wrestling, but as still everyone has a opinion. So we want to respect that and we want to promote and get them over. So our guy Chris Deshawn there on the Midfit Nation, and as well the PUWF on the Rican Reaction. I believe later on tonight we're gonna have NXT time with D-Walk. So please, you wanna hear some more or see the different perspective and NXT point of views, check out D-Walk, man, on Rican Reaction. Give him a shout out there. This will conclude here the NXT review this evening. Again, I give this show a really good B+, A-, because it was a go home show. It got us wondering what we're gonna what are we gonna watch on Battleground, and we also got some stuff laid out for next Tuesday night on NXT Live. So we love that to see that there. We want to tune in the aftermath of the Battleground. Are we getting a new women's champion? Who is the new North American women's champion? We're gonna get tag team champions. Will be a new men's men's champion, heavyweight champion, or will there be a new North American men's champion? So all these titles there, it's gonna Shawn Michaels and company are gonna put on a good show on Sunday night. And we can't wait to see the aftermath on NXT Tuesday. And of course, again, I love it. We appreciate it. Oh, man, thank you, Tara. I appreciate it. I hope we'd see you for the watch-along. And if, Tara, if you ever want to join us on the watch-along, again, you could reach out to me here. You can reach out to my email address or on my social media at bxjedi76@gmail.com or at bxjedi76 on the Twitter X machine. We'll love that. I'll send you the link, and you can join us here, man. We always like to grow the Heel of the Ring crew and hear others' point of views. It's not always one-sided. We like to hear all different point of view. You may not agree, but you know what? That's what makes the world goes round. So we appreciate that there. I would have loved to hear from Terrence, who was at the building live and in person, the breakdown there, the oohs and ahs, but you'll hear him on Friday Night SmackDown. He'll be on with us live, and we appreciate everyone. We thank you guys again. Hit that like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like I always say, if we have in the Heel of the Ring podcast, we have 2 words for you. Just subscribe. We'll see you guys again. We appreciate everyone. May the sports be with you. Lexi King, hit us out. Take us out of it.
Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one.